I want to give you a preview of how to multiply a monomial and a polynomial. So if you remember when we were studying in Unit 6 about a monomial times another monomial, such as x to the a power and x to the b power, it was the same as multiplying x, the coefficient of x, and adding the two exponents. So if you had x to the third power, as another example, times x to the fifth power, you'd finish getting x to the eighth power. Now, that same rule that you apply with monomial times monomial applies to monomials times polynomials. These are all different examples of polynomials and monomials you can multiply. So you have a monomial here, here, and here, times different binomials on the first two, and finally a trinomial at the very bottom. Let's walk through on the next few slides and work on how to explain these. Well, this should look really similar to a problem look like this: 3 times b plus 4. So to solve this, the first thing you would do to distribute, and that's the same thing you're going to do to multiply a monomial times a polynomial. You're going to distribute the b on the outside to both numbers inside the parentheses. Well, if you remember, each monomial has that exponent of 1. So b to the first times b to the first would be b to the second. And then b to the first times 4 will get you 4 times b. And since these are both different terms, there's nothing you can do to simplify. Let's go over and take a look at when there's a coefficient and a variable. Well, just like you learned in the previous example, each of the g's have a exponent of 1. And when you were learning how to multiply monomials times monomials, you multiplied the two coefficients and then added the exponents of your variables. So this time it's -8 and g squared. And then you'll go ahead and do the same thing here, where you're going to multiply the coefficient of -4 times -4 to get +16, and then g. So that's introduction to how to do a monomial times a binomial. Now let's take a look at a slightly harder example. So it doesn't change the rules. It has a trinomial instead of a binomial because we have 3 terms. So that's why we call it a trinomial. Now, we're going to follow the same rules. We're going to pretend that we're just doing individual sets of monomials. 4ab times a squared. Well, I can combine the a's to give me 4a cubed b. I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 4ab to ab plus 4a and a makes a squared, b and b makes b squared, and finally the 4ab to -3. So that becomes, we multiply our two coefficients to equal -12 a b. And that's how you factor a monomial times a polynomial. Now I've got one more example I wanted to show you so you can be ready for our lesson on the next day. Let's take a look at what this might look with a geometric example. So you have 2 monomials times binomials because we're working with area. So now I'm asking you, if I have this figure here, how would I figure out the area of the red section? So I don't want this inner black section here. All I want to find out is red. Well, to do that, we're going to come back into our formulas. So really, it would be the red section, which is the entire thing, minus the black section inside to figure out the total answer. So to figure out area of each one, you do the area of, you go back, so the area of the black section would be, or the red section would be 3x times 6x plus 2 minus the area of the intersection, the black section would be x, 2x minus 1. So the first thing we need to do is simplify and distribute both numbers. So the first one I get is 18x squared plus 6x. Now go ahead and divide. Negative x times 2x is negative 2x squared. Negative x times negative 1 is plus x. So now I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to combine my x squared. So I have 18x squared minus 2x squared is 16x squared. And 6x plus x is 7x. And this is the area for the red section, A of R. And you can see now, combining the two monomials using the area formula, there are lots of applications where multiplying binomials and monomials or monomials and polynomials can apply to all of the branches. We'll take a look at the rest of this as we study this section. This would be a great video. I hope this gives you a great preview of what we're going to come up with next.